Over the weekend, Chief Twit Elon Musk was treated to a not so warm welcome in the state of Wisconsin. The Tesla CEO had showed up to hand some people checks for voting in the state Supreme Court election for Republican Brad Schimel. Musk spent about $20 million of his own money to endorse Schimel, and that's, of course, after spending nearly $300 million to support Donald Trump during his 2024 presidential election. So Elon shows up, and then this happens.
The federal government, like, shocking, really. It's insane. Yeah, it's really wild. So, like, I mean, it was inevitable that at least a few Soros operatives would be in the audience. Give my regards to George. Say hi to George for me. USA, 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 USA.
Ah, yes, George Soros. I nailed it. You know, it's funny. These people cannot fathom that regular people don't like them. That's why everything is, must be paid protesters, George Soros. That's literally projection, dude. But it always has to be someone. Has to be George Soros, which is pretty rich, pun intended, coming from the wealthiest man on the planet, who was literally there to hand out checks to people who pledged to support his agenda. Irony is dead. Irony is dead. Crystal Ball pretty much nailed it when she had responded to this video saying, pretended like they're paid Soros operatives while you were literally there to try to bribe people to vote. It really is amazing. But yeah, he's out there blaming George Soros for the Tesla protests. Because of course, right? So the guy goes around and is trying to buy votes. This isn't the first time. He actually did this during the 2024 presidential election as well. So why isn't anybody stopping him? That's a good question, right? Not even the Wisconsin State Supreme Court, the race that he is trying to influence at this very moment, is willing to take him on. And that, I think, is pretty disturbing. Pretty disturbing. Okay. Shortly before Sunday's rally, the state Supreme Court refused to hear an appeal by the state's Democratic Attorney General to stop Musk from handing over checks to voters, who argued that it violated state law. Wisconsin law prohibits offering anything of value to induce anyone to vote, said AG Josh Kroll in his filing. Yet Elon Musk did just that. Yeah. And again, this isn't the first time that he's done this. Now, the court is currently controlled by liberal judges in a 4-3 balance. They declined to give a rationale for their decision to reject the motion. That's a big mistake. A previous court filing made by Musk's attorney claimed that he was just exercising his free speech rights. Oh. And that any attempts to stop him from handing out checks would violate his constitutional rights. You do not have a constitutional right to buy an election. But apparently, in this country, now you do. Insane. Payments were intended to generate grassroots movement in opposition to activist judges, they argued, not to expressly advocate for or against any candidate. I think that argument's pretty ridiculous. By definition, you cannot have a grassroots movement funded by a billionaire. But I love the idea of labeling anybody who's fighting against the Trump-Musk hostile government takeover as an activist judge. I mean, you look at the judges there, there are Republican judges, and there are, Democratic judges, okay? They're both making rulings based on the Constitution to prevent what Donald Trump and Elon Musk are doing, which is tearing down the guardrails to our democracy and basically taking power away from the legislative branch. That's what they're doing. And so these judges are upholding our norms, the ways that we do things, and the way that our government runs. But apparently, if you do that, you're an activist judge. You're an activist judge. No. But to George Soros. No. Now, he was mocked for this even on his own platform, which is always funny. Journalist and researcher Hannah Gase wrote, "Anyone who doesn't like me works for George Soros, an airhead right-winger's guide to political debate." Gotta love that. Another journalist, Kate Ross, replied with, "Can't take the heat without being anti-Semitic." Because that, of course, is a conspiracy theory that, oh, George Soros, he's Jewish. And so therefore, he is pulling the strings, the Democrat Party. Really? And of course, you know, any lefty who does any sort of left media is always being accused of getting Soros money, which I think is hilarious because I've never seen a Soros check. Okay, never had any of that Daddy Warbucks money, you know, poured all over me, but the right wing has it in spades. I mean, you had literal Russian oligarchs that were funding people like Tim Pool and Dave Rubin. Okay, Benny Johnson getting all this money from literal Russians. Okay, and so yeah, I mean, there's all that money over there, but yeah, any money on the left, it must be George Soros. And by the way, they only have George Soros, right? Because there's pretty much no other billionaires on the left. None that really give any money. I don't even know if you can count Mark Cuban. Okay, so it's just, it's hilarious projection, as always. Celia Bedelia also responded to this, asking, does Elon know he's actually doing everything he accuses George Soros of doing? To which I just mentioned, yes, projection is now an art form mastered by the far right, and Elon's words may be the greatest example of it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.